I got better shit to do. It's the grand return of the podcast that now averages once a month instead of once every couple of weeks.
Hey, we took a holiday break.
We took a big holiday break.
We said we weren't starting back up again until the government was back open.
Yo, now we're here.
Now we're
we
here.
made our point.
That's the excuse. How'd you like that? Internet, Congress.
We had some of what most popular YouTubers call YouTube fatigue, where we get fatigued because we do so much stuff.
It was a political stance, Brent.
It is. Well, look, YouTube could get pretty fucking political. You ever watch H3 or PewDiePie? I mean, look, PewDiePie.
We were getting in on that, Brent. Just follow along, Brent. We're
taking a stand. We're still standing. We're still strong.
We should have put out more videos because there was more people without work and they were probably looking for something to watch. Man, we should have played that angle. We went with the wrong angle, Brent.
Play the angle of, we're gonna go up in viewership by I don't know 10 because of the 800,000 people that were fucked over by the government. I would have taken it.
Yeah, I'll take a 10. I'll 10 person bump.
Yep. Oh.
Yeah, get those bumps from somewhere. Sometimes it's the bathroom. Sometimes.
Speaking of bumps, feels like life is a big speed bump lately. Just a never-ending torrent of pain and misery.
Are you a Castlevania boss there?
Ooh, a Castlevania boss. So much has gone on. I feel like it's too much. It's too much to even. I didn't even say what the episode number was.
What is the episode?
44.
44. Oh, you didn't even see what the podcast was.
Episode 44. It's the Jack It Off podcast. 2019, Dylan. We're in it now. We're freshly minted. We're in 2019 officially.
We've been in 2019.
I know we've been in 2019. But it's just like when you try to write a check, Dylan, you're still going to put 2018 on it because it's too good to be true. So much has happened already in 2019. We were furloughed, Dylan. That's what happened. We were just like the government workers. We were furloughed. We provide a worthwhile service to our fellow man. And the government decided that it wasn't worth paying us anymore, so they furloughed us. So we weren't allowed to make videos, and then now here we are, ready to talk about absolutely nothing. I have nothing planned.
I don't know that while was the right word to put after worth.
Worthwhile.
No. Worthless.
This worthwhile government program known as the Jack It Off podcast. Shh, Google's listening. They listening. You better take it easy on that propaganda. What?
I said, yeah, they just started listening just now.
They were tuning. It was like tuning a radio knob. They were just turning it, and then they just heard a little blip, just a little boop, and then they whoop, turned it back, and then they heard us, and then they were like, oh. We should probably listen in on these guys. See what's going on in these two sad sacks' existences. Turns out, quite a bit, Google. You'd be surprised. Yeah, I think you might like what you hear, Google. Maybe, I don't know. Hopefully, you'll send a couple more of those bots our way to listen to us. It's kind of like the face thing, Dylan. The 10-year challenge. Everybody was saying that it's part of one big algorithm to fucking see how people age.
Yeah, you got to update the databases.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Scratch the government furlough thing for a second. What we're really doing is we took a break so that Google could see where we were a month ago, where we were now, comparatively. So Google has this benchmark of like, all right, here's what they were talking about a month ago, and now here's what they're talking about now. Turns out they didn't get a lot of data from that because it is much different. It's not like the 10-year challenge where they're like, oh, there's a little wrinkle there, and he had blue swoopy hair, and he was at this time he was listening to a lot of My Chemical Romance, like a whole hell of a lot of My Chemical Romance.
Still is
Like
still
an
is.
unhealthy. I mean, it comes up. What we do is we team up with Spotify to put it on his rewind playlist. That's what we do. So now what we're doing is we're rewinding the tape on him. So it's even more of that 10-year challenge going on. Here was me 10 years ago visually, and then on Spotify, here's me 10 years ago in terms of my musical habits. It's embarrassing, and this is the first generation to ever experience it. Because basically, you could just... What was 10 years ago? What were the popular bands? All right, cool. Now you have, instead of finding a mixtape in the back seat of your car from 10 years ago, you could just go on Spotify and they're like, here's songs that you like from 10 years ago. It's like, bitch, how do you know what I like from 10 years ago?
You weren't even around. Wait.
We were watching. We've always been watching.
Were they around? No, they weren't around yet. They were 2010, I think.
Yeah, 10 years ago now? Yeah, it would have been, I think it was 2010 or something like that. It's
No, I'm saying that on Spotify.
Yeah,
I think it
Spotify.
was like 2010. I don't know. I'm not sure if it was here 2010, but
I remember
when they did the they were in like Europe first. They launched in Europe.
Oh wow, actually, well, it's maybe that was in Europe. Let me just get a little bit more information, just because. Oh, they were developed. That was right. That's right. It was Sweden. It said founded in 2006 and then released in 2008. But that was it doesn't really specifically say when they did it.
I remember I think it was in the second year of college or something, because it wasn't the first year. I know, because I was at the Perkins apartment.
Yeah,
and I was listening to a podcast with Mike Shinoda on it, and he was talking about it. Yeah.
What an antiquated statement.
He was talking about
I
Spotify,
was listening to a
how they had,
podcast with
how
Mike
they had
Shinoda.
this program in Europe. It wasn't out in America yet, or it was just coming out, that like basically you could stream music off of. Because I've had it forever.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it's easy to short sell Spotify in terms of its like prevalence, like as much as it's something like Netflix is. Like Netflix is like the mecca of like what a time to be alive type of thing, or anything like that, like Netflix, Hulu, all these streaming services. But fucking Spotify, dude, it's changed a lot, and some of it also negatively as far as the monetization is concerned, because of the fact that it doesn't fund artists.
I don't know when I first created a playlist, but
I have
my
the
first
college playlist.
My first playlist, the first song, like the earliest song I put on it, was September of 2011.
Oh yeah, I can take a look at that too, because I would bet you, but
I'm not sure like how long it took me to create a playlist. You know what I mean? Yeah,
that's true too. It was mostly at the beginning. It was like, you know what I was that's funny that you bring that up as far as the playlists are concerned, because
I remember what was it called?
First Groove Shark,
yeah.
When we used to
see, I think you were still on Groove Shark and I was on Spotify.
Yes, and the only reason why I was still on Groove Shark was because, I mean, mainly because it was free. They had a premium service, like they were trying to compete initially, but the free service part of it, there was this. I wish I could find it. I don't even think that's still a thing. Let me see if there's any information about it. Oh my god, is it real? Oh, it's still here. Hold on.
Would it come back or something?
No, they turned it into GrooveMP3.com.
That sounds like they were dodging some lawsuits.
But there's also GrooveSharks.org. Let me see if Dylan, if there was any conceivable way that I could log into this. I don't even know if I used my SUNY IT email address or if I used just my fucking Gmail. Oh, that's crazy, man. Anyway, what we used to do was we would have everybody log into like either it was logging into the same account or we would log into like a shared like playlist. Like I think they actually did have collaborative playlists at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody would add songs as we were getting more and more and more and more drunk. And it was fucking crazy.
It would just queue them up, right?
Yeah, so it was the first iteration of what we had all experienced as like a party playlist. So it was we would be up in the senior dorms in dorm I. The guy Skip, I don't know did you ever meet Skip if I ever brought you up there to SUNY IT? I think you did. He was fucking huge. He's like 6'5", 320. He was the biggest dude in the world.
Yeah.
When we would go up there, he would set up his big ass TV, and he would, obviously everybody at SUNY IT, their whole thing was like computers in the living room type of thing. So everybody over there had a set top box that was basically just a shitty Dell computer or like a gaming PC or whatever that they had in the living room. And he had a big he was one of the people that had the biggest TVs that I had known about at the time. Like this was still
big
a time.
Big man's got to have a big TV.
Even in like in 2009, 2010, there were big TVs out there. They were expensive as fuck, but he, for a guy in college, had a totally. He was also a super senior too, so that also contributes to the fact. But he had his computer hooked up to it, and I would come down early. We would start drinking early, and then people would start to trickle in. But when I came down early, as I was starting to drink, I'd have a playlist queued up of like 200 songs already, just at the top off the top of my head. And then what would happen is he would reload the playlist every single time. So basically, he'd hit shuffle on the playlist from the last weekend when we got plastered. So that was what we did. Pretty much every fucking week it felt like. So yeah, GrooveSharks.org doesn't have either of my email addresses, Dylan. What a sad day.
Man. All those playlists, you jumped in on the wrong service.
It's so funny because it sort of speaks to what just happened with Machinima, where it's it is. I will not diminish what happened with Machinima by comparing it to a fucking stupid music playlist I had in 2009. Let's not do that. But what it does parallel is the impermanence of anything that has to do with streaming or online anything. I think I don't think it can be understated that.
Oh, there's even that, and then the Wii store's closing. So if anything you bought, if you don't have downloaded, you're not gonna be able to download it again.
The Nintendo Wii Shop?
Yes, the original
Wii Shop
Wii
channel or whatever the fuck it is. I think that's a world we're living in right now. Unfortunately, we are at the mercy of largely cloud-based content that doesn't exist. Like it doesn't have permanence other than what is essentially the same thing as recording a song on the radio in the late 90s with a two-stage cassette deck. The only way that you could be assured that any of this content has permanence is if you have a local copy of it or somebody has a local copy of it. If there was a person that was following Machinima and ripping every single one of those videos off of YouTube,
I'm sure there was,
and sharing them to a hard drive, and just keeping them locally, ready for this apocalypse day when everything gets fucking deleted, that would be the savior for the content. But it's crazy that the people who create this content, I mean, it could be anything in this case. For Groove Shark and Spotify and whatever, it could be an artist, a musical artist who creates a record in a studio. It comes down to a digital format to press to whatever. Now it's going back to vinyl and cassettes and everything else, but normally it'd be pressed to a CD, and then it will go out to iTunes, Spotify, and all these other services. What happens when the master record for this shits the bed? Or what happens when, for more prominent artists, it's not that big of a deal. The Beatles catalog has existed for different versions of it can happen.
I mean, you hear about like Rock Band, like just that game in general, like the cover songs. Went earlier, like when they would do the cover songs, some of it was due to the fact that something happened to the original masters that they were unusable. I guess that's like you still have the song, but like the masters were broken to where they couldn't split up the parts because the whole
and
point,
it's really just the vocals.
Well, no, it's guitar and stuff too, because when you miss a note, they want the other part to keep going.
You want to be able to cut it. Right, that's true.
So, like, a lot of the times in the earlier days of Rock Band, when they would put out, like, this is more during Rock Band 2, I think, because Rock Band 1, they still had to do covers, because it was like that, Guitar Hero 1 was pretty much all covers. It was all
licensing issues,
because they're like, well...
They didn't have enough money.
Well, not only that, they're like, well, we're not going to give you the master to our songs. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, they don't know. They didn't know what it was.
Yeah, we'll give you the license.
Aerosmith was the first one where they were like, "Yeah, go ahead, give it a shot," and then they made $1 billion fucking dollars.
No, it was like by Guitar Hero 2. The people were.
I mean, Aerosmith was the first one to take it seriously and make their own title and actually put stock in that brand. As far as I was aware, because
no, that was just. I mean, it was already. That was after 3, so this was already.
It was already pre-established.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is more like Guitar Hero. By the time Guitar Hero 2 came around, bands were starting to be like, okay, you can have access to our masters.
It's clearly
and
a
stuff.
viable format.
But what we were talking about, the whole like losing, like if they couldn't get a song, like a master with all the parts pieced out, they basically wouldn't re-record it and use the parts they could get. They would. This is mostly for Rock Band too, because Guitar Hero was way easier because it was just the guitar over the top, which I imagine most of like a lot of the recording.
Some of the older older songs are isolated by mono, so you could basically hit the right and the left channel and it would eliminate certain things from it.
Yeah, and how they I guess how they recorded some songs or like two pieces were on the same channel, so if that's the case, then it's unusable to them.
Right. The bigger point of the whole thing is that it's crazy that we lived in an era where I was saying the cassette, put the cassette in the fucking thing and record it off the radio if you couldn't afford to buy the record or whatever it is. But the physical permanence of data, like what we're doing right now, like we're recording something to your hard drive that then is going to get uploaded to YouTube. And if there isn't a backup solution in place, YouTube is the only place that will have this content forever. And in the future,
what will we do?
Oh no. In the future, when maybe something happens, and it's been a long time coming. If anybody pays attention to what happens on YouTube, there's always going to be the potential for something to drastically fail and another service to come up behind it.
Venmo, it's on its way.
Venmo.
Is that the one? Is that
the payment processing
Vivo.
company?
No. What's the
Vivo? You're right.
No,
it's
Vivo's
Vivo.
no, Vivo's the music channel.
Oh, Vimeo.
Vimeo.
Well,
that's how popular they are. They're on their way up.
They're on their way up.
15 tries.
Venmo. The thing with these other competing companies is that it's the processing power and it's the storage solutions themselves. Something like Dailymotion, Vimeo, Twitch.
Once YouTube goes out, we got bigger problems. Because
YouTube is too big to fail.
It's a Google company. Even Twitch, it's Amazon. So like once those two, we're just done regardless.
Yep. Well, the weird thing is that I would have never, like, in the era where I was playing Sid Meier's Pirates on a fucking beige box, or playing Need for Speed Underground 2 on my PS2, was an era that I could not imagine somebody recording gameplay videos and then by extension making millions and millions of dollars doing that. It's the craziest thing that I could have possibly imagined to come out of YouTube. I remember when YouTube started, like I remember when it was a thing and we were on it. I mean, YouTube has been everything for the longest fucking time, forever. And it used to run without ads. It used to run without any, like, the first partners of YouTube made like no money when they first started doing the content sponsorship programs and all that shit. It's just a crazy notion to think that this thing where people could just upload whatever they wanted suddenly turned into the new TV. I watch more YouTube than almost anything else. It's become a source of content for me that far surpasses the consumption of content on any other platform. It's as simple as that. It's fucking nuts. And just to be able to contribute to that now is the worst time to do it. That's the biggest part of the whole thing, is that YouTube is just like Bitcoin. There was a time to get into it, and now is not that time.
It certainly had, right?
It'll come around again, right? Yeah, right. It'll happen again. Well, in some ways, even though you can joke about that, it is true. I think, but it depends on what your definition of "it'll come around again" is and what it is. If it is a thing like YouTube that'll come around again, that's never going to happen. But if what it is people getting sick and fucking tired of the centralization and monetization and ad placement of this content, what we might end up with is more services like Rooster Teeth First and Giant Bombs or Patreon being a thing where you can watch and consume content from creators that you already know, that you want to consume content from. The decentralization of your content, which is it's happening with streaming services too, where now what used to be was Netflix and Hulu would take care of 90% of either what you wanted to watch or what you didn't know you wanted to watch on streaming services most of the time. If you wanted to watch them like a new movie, maybe it was iTunes. Those would be like the top 3 things that people consumed media on in their homes, visual media. But now people are starting to become more like we're heading back into what fucking cable was, where it's like I don't give a shit what's on cable right now, but I do know that there are some things that are happening that I would like to watch, but I don't really care because I don't want to watch ads. But if I know that, like, for example, the Cooking Channel or Food Network or whatever has got its own streaming service that I can watch things on and it's the only thing I care about, I'll drop money on that or whatever it happens to be. I don't want to pay for a service that's got a bunch of extra shit. That's what cable was for. But we're heading back into it because of the Disney, like, you know, Disney owning everything and then having their own streaming platform.
Well, that's a
It's
nice
like,
part of them owning everything, or their streaming platform is when they own everything. At least you'll be able to get everything from there.
well, that's the craziest part about it is that there's what we used to experience in the early 90s, late 90s, you know, early 2000s was a centralization of consumption. The three places that you went to do anything in 1998 was fucking Blockbuster, the mall, which is the consumerism part of it. So it's like, where do I buy stuff? Go to the mall. Where do I get movies, TV, and entertainment? Go to Blockbuster. And I mean, I guess the third one would be more like
Walmart.
Yeah. I mean, so 1998, if you, food, go to a grocery store. Now, in 2019, you have the ability to sit at your home and have an infinite choice with how you consume content. If you want to watch somebody across the world make a fucking crepe, you can do that. You can watch Alex French Guy Cooking on YouTube, who now has his own cookbook. You can watch Maddie Matheson. You can watch fucking Action Bronson, rapper turned chef Action Bronson, who then went from YouTube to a television station called Viceland from the Vice YouTube channel, and then went back and forth again. Now you have Rhett and Link from YouTube going on Jimmy Fallon and eating gross shit with Jimmy Fallon to appease all of middle America. Can you fly over the state? Yes. Will they enjoy it? Yes. And that's the strangest part, is that we relied on, not going back to 1998, we watched Nickelodeon, the Disney Channel, and for me, being a young tubby, I would watch the Food Network.
Oh, yes.
So young tubbies like myself could watch Food Network, and that was the only way. Huh?
While shoving potato chips in your face.
Exactly. Making different dips from my potato chips, because Emerald said that you could make this type of thing, or like you could put a bam in it. You could bam it. The way that we received information was binary. It was like 0, 1. Here's the TV. Here's you. This is how you get the information that you're looking for. And we're going to send you advertisements through the television that are then going to inform you when you go out to Blockbuster, when you go out to the mall, and when you go out to the grocery store. The TV is the only thing that's available to tell you exactly what it is that you want to buy.
That's the same thing now, though.
Well,
it's just all the
fairness,
internet.
Though,
it's all the internet.
Well, you could generalize it by saying it's the internet, because it is it's a broader thing than what television is.
Yeah, but the internet's beaming into your face how to stay at home and 100%. Stay on the internet 1,000. Like, here's
but what I would say,
subscription for fucking Blue Laundry. What's Blue Apron? Blue Apron. That's the one. Blue Apron.
Blue Laundry.
You get groceries delivered to your house. Here's a thing for Uber Eats. Where do you want to go eat? You don't got to leave your fucking house. Any place delivers. McDonald's delivers now because Uber Eats.
McDonald's delivers because you deliver. The
Yeah.
person, a guy, some dude,
So
goes and picks it up for you.
the internet's just keeping you on the internet, so you never leave
Well,
the
it's
internet. And every
100%.
service that's around now is just a way so that you could stay on the internet
Stay on
and
the
never
internet and
leave your
consume Jack It Off
never leave your
podcast.
house.
Consume, consume, consume.
And I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. That's not
No,
me.
I,
That's not
I'm
even
I'm not
complaining.
either. I just think it's really interesting.
I'd rather.
I think
I ain't gonna get
understanding the
shot.
differences. Well, that's the other thing, is that life itself
Sucks.
is governed by is governed by fear and uncertainty and the idea that the internet can put a digital layer between you and that uncertainty and fear ultimately has created the culture that we live in. It's created the reactionary culture that surrounds every piece of social media and the political landscape. It's all created by the fear that we used to be able to have by going outside and experiencing the world unfiltered, that now can either be relieved or enhanced by the internet. There's no gray area. You can go on the internet and see you could go on the internet and see posts from people that you know about things that they're afraid of, and through confirmation bias, you can now make yourself afraid of them without even leaving the comfort of your home. We don't need Walter Cronkite to tell us to get underneath our desks and cover our heads in case of a nuclear apocalypse. All we need to do is fucking go on Facebook, and it's there. It's all in front of you. You can scroll through your feed and see all your friends.
Evil the brown people are.
Yeah, you can see how evil the brown people are, but that's what I'm talking about with the filter. The filter is what creates the disconnect between the person and their computer screen and the person in the outside world. That amazing filter. And what it comes down to is it's all Shark Week. When Shark Week comes out, the reportings of shark attacks in the US go up. But there's only how many a year? There's some statistic that said there's only like a dozen a year or something like that. If that.
More people die from getting squished by vending machines than shark attacks.
Oh,
like
that fucking old. Yeah, there's so many of those things, but the one.
Like shark attacks don't happen all that often.
Well, that's the thing that I think is important about the internet, is that what it does is it creates a frequency of problems that don't exist based on math, based on probability, based on majority. The question is, how often does this happen? Well, if I only know about it as many times as it's reported, that's how many times it's happened to me. So if I see 1 million times on television that somebody has gotten attacked by a shark, that could mean that there's more shark attacks than what they're telling me, or that there's less, depending on how they spin it. So there could be 12 shark attacks per year, but at a certain point on the news, if they're telling me about every single one that happens in rapid succession, I'll be like, God damn, there's a lot of sharks attacking people this year. It's like,
grow legs? Are they walking now?
Yeah, it's like, holy shit. They're walking up on land and shanking people on the beach. And that's the point worth making, is that, like, however you want to interpret it, whether it's I'm afraid of the brown people or whatever it is in a current political climate that people have a reason to fear, or that they've crafted a reason to fear. It's because the access that we have to information now, the quickness at which we can retrieve this type of information, like bad shit, has never been higher ever in the history of mankind. I would imagine that if Jack the Ripper existed today, that we would know everything Jack the Ripper was doing at the drop of a hat. Jack the Ripper's Twitter account would be going crazy with all the times he fucked somebody up. But in ye olden times, Jack the Ripper would kill 30 people before somebody sends a single fucking telegraph saying that the police may have found a body. I've got a hunch maybe somebody's been murdered here. Send a carrier pigeon to the next precinct. It's like the way that information, like we can keep track of everything that happens in the world every single time it happens. And then you can just establish patterns. You create whatever you want. You can choose to show a small amount of things that happen or a large amount of things that happen just to twist a narrative. Because if people think that something is happening more and more in rapid succession, then it is. To them, it is. Any of the dark shit, school shootings, any of these things that everybody always gets their panties in a bunch about, which for good reason they should. Not saying that. Let's pedal back on that fucking thing. But Brent did an oopsie. He's a school shooter apologist. The one time anybody watches this podcast. But I think it's worth noting that something like a Columbine, that was during the era of where we received our news from one location, where there's no way to retrieve that information. You wait until 11 o'clock at night. And that's the other thing too, is like,
oh no, CNN was around back then. CNN.
That's the biggest example, isn't it? Is CNN in a pre-internet world created the first 24-hour newscast. And what they did essentially, again, pre-internet, was create what is essentially the same thing as you get from the internet now, is a constant stream of information that's bombarding you in your eyeballs 24 hours a day, that by large accounts used to be the only thing that you could trust. Something like a CNN or any news network used to be a thing where people were like, this is the definitive news. This is what's happening. And I mean, even earlier than that, again, talking about the fucking Walter Cronkites of the world. Our parents and their parents sat down every single day to switch on, and that's the way it was. I'm Walter Cronkite. Like, he was on, and he would tell you a single source, a figurehead, a sounding horn, a fucking megaphone to your brain that said, here's what happened in America today. Nobody needs anything like that anymore. The problem is that the people who still think they need something like that are the people that needed that 25 years ago or longer. That need 20, 30, 40 years ago needed Walter Cronkite to tell them to get under their desk because it's nuclear war. They still think that that's a thing that you need, even given the prevalency of a piece of data that you can just right into your psyche. You don't have to go to the microfilms in the library. I think there's a pattern here. Maybe I'll go turn this knob for 16 hours so that I can read some news articles possibly connecting these issues. You just go on Wikipedia, you go on whatever it is, but now it's fucking come full circle. I see family members on Facebook who don't know. It's become so inconceivable to me in my life that I grew up knowing how to research something. And the concept of that goes beyond your high school librarians say, go down to section E and pull out the book about. That starts it. The idea that you can be that research can lead to analysis and that you can establish an opinion based on hard facts and evidence, right? That's the core of the whole shit. But now it's even easier. You don't have to take that many more steps to do what it was that you had to do in order to figure out whether something was real or not. Most of the time, somebody could tell you if you, like, all those old bullshit wives' tales. Somebody could tell you that more vending machines fall on you than shark attacks happen in the United States, and pre-internet, I believe you, man.
Sure.
That's such a zany. Yeah, that sounds fathomable. It's entertaining. What more could you want in a factoid? It's great for me. I'm
Uncle
good.
Tom's shitter facts. What are they?
Uncle Tom's shitter facts. Yeah, famed classical novel called. It's not Uncle Tom's Cabin. It's Uncle Tom's Shitter Facts.
That's what happens when he got to live in the house. And all that time to write.
That's what. When they learned how to read and write, that's when we really went downhill, because you end up with books like Uncle Tom's Bathroom Shitter. So, if you're only, and to draw another parallel, if comparatively your only source of information when it comes to facts and figures is Uncle Tom's Bathroom Shitter, then I think you're going to be a misinformed individual. I think largely if you don't get up from the shitter and go online and query the thing that you just read in your shit-stained bathroom tome, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You're misinforming yourself. But the best way to understand this is the same people that told you to not trust everything you see on TV and to trust everything you see on the internet, or vice versa. So don't trust everything you see on the internet, trust everything you see on TV. Now say, I'm going to trust everything on the internet and I don't trust shit on TV. Because it's flipped.
Trust no bitch. As they say in the streets.
Bitch. That's my biggest frustration, is that in an era where information has never been easier to get, there are people that still rely on the oldest forms of receiving information because they believe that those are the most legitimate. That what used to give them entertainment, what used to give them fictional entertainment, is now the thing that they receive all of their factual information from. And now the thing that I receive every piece of information from, whether
memes.
It's entertainment, is memes. 100% memes let me know what's happening in the world.
In small bursts, in funny pictures.
Small bursts and funny pictures is how we as a society have plunged into eternal darkness. It's going to be the next Dark Ages. Is there such thing as the Light Ages? Because that's what this is going to be. It's going to be like the Dark Ages. But like, to see the kind of crazy shit that people post, Dylan, is out of fucking control. I can't, like, I went and looked at a comments section the other day. Oh,
what is your problem?
God.
You have nothing better to do with your time?
It's
nothing?
No.
You didn't have to, like, put your hand on the stove or something?
Yeah, that probably would have been a better alternative, is to just lay my face flat down on the stove. The sheer magnitude of shit posting and brigading and gaslighting is absolutely unreal. And it's to the point now where that's the version of entertainment we all live in, is the comment section. That's our Jerry Springer Jerry Springer used to bring us a view in on Middle America and the lower dregs of society once a week on television. We get to, well, now it pretty much was every day on television at a certain point. You had to wait for Jerry Springer to bring you your daily dose of redneck chicanery, where people were. Nobody knew what a furry was, Dylan. Nobody knew what a furry was. But Springer gives you the view in onto that world. He lets you know that this stuff exists, that it's real. In many ways, Jerry Springer was the first meme, the meme master. He brought the people that would have become memes into the studio and let them act out their lives for your guilty pleasure. It's as simple as that. You got Failblog now, Dylan. You can go on Failblog and watch people get look. You used to have to wait for Bob Saget to come on TV, Dylan, to show you people getting hit in the nuts. Now you got a whole channel dedicated to it. You can go right on there. You can it's a plethora of it's a cornucopia of useless knowledge, of which I've just over my entire life just. I've just nibbled.
Is that for everyone? Don't mind if I do.
I don't. Oh yeah.
Don't mind if
I'll have the souffle. It takes 25 minutes to make, but I think it's worth it. If memes were a souffle,
I'll have two.
But hey, if you're gonna be in there making them, you might as well make 2 of them.
I mean, what? It was just add it. It's double the recipe.
Oh, that useless knowledge souffle that we're all lusting after, to try to distract us from the inevitability of reality, to try to distract us from the existential dread that is not looking at memes. Because when I'm not looking at memes, it's 100% automatic existential dread, no questions asked. So
I ain't asking them. I'm not here asking those questions.
You gotta fight them off. You gotta fight off that existential dread.
Get out of here, dread. You look at memes about killing yourself.
Yeah, you gotta look at memes. You gotta keep doing it. Don't stop. Don't stop looking at memes, because there's no other way.
It's my platform I'm running on.
Don't let society tell you that all you gotta do is take vitamins and maybe go into your doctor or exercise, take some fun. You just gotta look at memes. This is what the doctors won't tell you. 10 things that doctors won't tell you. You won't believe number 5. Number 5 is look at memes.
Memes are the Zoloft for the 20XX century.
100%. I can't agree with that more.
Keep your Zoloft in the 90s, baby. We're looking at stupid pictures on the internet.
All your parents have been tricked by big pharma into thinking that they have to take a pill to get rid of their horrific existential dread that everybody's been having since the beginning of time. But the millennials, my dude, they figured it out. You don't need mind-altering substances. I mean, it helps. You could certainly take a mind-altering substance and then look at memes, but that's almost like looking into like a mirror pointed at another mirror. Like,
it just keeps going.
That shit is out of control, dude. You can just keep compounding it. You take a couple fucking Xannies, and you get online and look at all your memes, also about depression. Whew, enjoy it, because you're at the pinnacle. You're at the pinnacle of distracting yourself from existential dread. It's amazing. Nothing better than that. Mwah. Watching Vine comps, dude. Watching Vine comps is like going out with a night on a town with your buddies, with your old pals. What the fuck, Richard, and why are you running? Like all of those. It's your old friends. It's like watching The Office. It's the only reason why anybody kept The Office on Netflix. It's because all those people were just trying to distract themselves from the dread. Netflix knows it. Netflix is the next big pharma. They're gonna start producing meme shows where it's like you just put on your VR headset and you just get that shit dumped straight into your eyeballs. Pure serotonin. It's pure serotonin and dopamine flushing memes. Want to go look at some memes? Yeah, I got time. I got time. I got time between now and when I'm dead to just look at memes. I mean, it's the only way to carry forward is to just keep getting that shit just funneled straight into my consciousness. And something else that I funneled straight into my consciousness, Dylan, is Resident Evil 2 Biohazard.
Oh, no, it's not. Oh, it's what's
What?
it's not called Biohazard.
Yeah, that's what they call all the new ones.
No,
Is Resident Evil 2 Biohazard.
no. The Biohazard's what it's called in Japan. Resident Evil 7 was Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
This says on my Steam, Resident Evil 2 / Biohazard RE2.
Yeah, Biohazard RE2, the Japan name for it.
Well, look, I don't see No Man's Sky / a No Man's Sky. Like, that ain't happening. I don't see Doom / Doom.
Because you got it from a bootleg fucking key site, you scumbag.
Whatever.
Andrew even paid full price for it.
Oh,
How does that make you feel?
Oh, excuse me. Well, it's spoopy. It's a real spoopy game. Before I stopped playing this morning, fuck myself over. Decided that I had to drop an essential item because I was about to die and I had my shit filled up.
Idiot.
Classic Resident Evil scenario. Classic. Had a set of bolt cutters, opened up a door with the fucking chain on it, went inside, got myself fucked up by a bunch of zombies, had to find a first aid spray in the bathroom, dumped the bolt cutters, got my first aid spray back, looked at my map, went over to the door that I hadn't opened yet. Guess what? Fucking chains on it. Shit. So now I'm like, what the fuck do I do now? You can't pick the bolt cutters back up because every Resident Evil game is like, when you drop your fucking thing, it disintegrates into the ground. So now I can't get my bolt cutters back. And I try backtracking a bunch and fuck myself up even more. So now I'm going to have to load it from my previous typewriter. Just horse shit.
That's what it's Resident Evil, baby.
It's going to be shit.
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Terrifying.
I just got back to the part where they said Jill was in the courtyard.
Yeah, I only made it a little bit.
Yeah, probably like
past that, because that's the court going down to the. Oh, they said she's in the courtyard. You haven't made it to the courtyard.
I didn't go to the courtyard.
Okay,
yet.
So right, the courtyard is where the damn bolt cutters are. It's not spoiling anything for you. They're just there.
Yeah, and then
they open doors.
That door's to the left or the right.
Whatever the hell it is.
They're right at the front door.
Yeah. This game is, to me, like, I really, when I played 7, I was like, oh, like it was painful. This game is not nearly as painful as 7. It's still, they up the spoopy like a million degrees because, well, the other thing too, though, is that part of the spoopiness of like something like Resident Evil 4 was that the controls were bad.
Controls weren't bad in 4.
They're better in this though, Dylan. They really are.
Well, yeah.
It's the same type of control, but 10 times better.
Yeah.
It's easier to, like, I'm not finding myself like, because in Resident Evil 4, I was always like, like I was trying to get to their heads
because of the laser.
Like,
yeah.
But so with
the laser
like,
makes it a lot harder.
Yeah, a lot of times, like, my movement always was like, it felt like I was going over my own movement. I wasn't able to stop. But with this, man, with a pussy player like myself, not having to put it on assist mode and being able to nail like most headshots like really super easily, and running is very easy. You don't find yourself. There's only a few moments where you find yourself where you're like, oh shit, I'm in a wall. Oh fuck, like, but that's supposed to be that way. That adds to how fucking scariness. But it's vastly easier to control. I think that's what creates a better experience for me, because I can be scared by the stuff that happens, not necessarily feeling frustrated by the fact that I can't move or do anything, or constantly feeling overwhelmed or whatever. There are moments where I feel overwhelmed. There are moments where I don't. The controls are usually not involved in that feeling. It's just what it is.
That's a positive when the controls aren't the reason that you feel overwhelmed. It's the game itself. Like,
and I
even though you're not overwhelmed, you just think you're overwhelmed. You're like, fuck, oh shit, there's another one coming through the door. How am I ever gonna get out of this? And then you're just like, pop, run by them. Just stutter them so you can run by them.
The binaural audio, dude, sound design is like, because like, this is the first time where I was playing something where, like, I would be trying to unlock something, like I'm in the menu where it's zoomed in on a sliding puzzle or a combination or whatever, and I still feel like something is going to happen because in the background you can still hear shit clicking and stuff settling. That's the first time where I've ever felt it in a game where you don't have an emotional reprieve when you come into a different part of the game, like a menu or whatever. The only time where I feel like I'm okay is when I press inventory. Just like any other Resident Evil game, you stop time when you press your inventory. That's the only time where I feel like I'm all right and I can think about stuff. Like even when I'm in the fucking map, I'll take the map up and it's just like, oh wait, no, I'm in the map. Okay, I can't do anything. Nothing can do anything. But they're still feeding you the environmental sounds, like everywhere you go, and everything you hear is always just got that little like. And then like in rooms when there's zombies, like, I mean, you don't know whether or not, like, sometimes you know what side it's on just if they've thrown it in your left or right, but behind, well, you don't know what the fuck is going on behind you. I mean, you might have your 3D headset that's like got it, like get you a little bit back here in your surround, but fuck, it's scary. And also the appeal of this too for me is that I think just having over the shoulder to me, without really knowing the reason why, just feels better. It feels like you have more control. It feels like you
It doesn't feel like you're
are aware of your surroundings. Yeah. And it also, for me, puts the best part of what I like about Resident Evil back into it, which is just the action part. This is the most effective balancing of the atmospheric and terrifying parts of Resident Evil 7, and then the action-y parts of just the original games, or 4 or whatever it is, you know. I liked the action component, but I didn't need it to get to the level that 6 did. Like, that's not the world that I'm living in. I would like the action elements, but I also want the really, really good, tense, atmospheric elements. And this game is visually... I just haven't played a game that's good looking in a long time. It's just because I don't buy games when they first come out. There's a few, you know what I mean? There's a few. Like, I'll buy a full price, and I didn't buy this for full price, but it is right now in the world. Yes, right now in the world, it is a $60 game digitally. But there's something to be said about buying the most bleeding edge thing right now. Like just as far as a game is concerned. Because it's like, this is the pinnacle of what we're capable of. And stuff moves so quickly that in another 6 months, you're going to buy a game that looks better.
Well, you can already buy a game that looks better.
Well, you could buy Battlefield 5.
You could buy Red Dead.
With your 2080 or Red Dead, same way. But What I do like about this game is there's something about the crispiness of it.
The shadows.
The shadows are really good, and the crispiness is really good.
There was one
Like
part, I
just
don't
oh
know, I don't know if you went. Wait, you probably had to, right? Where there was a little model, uh, like a drawing model on a desk, and there was a light behind it, and it was shining on the wall, and there was like a full silhouette on the wall. Yeah, that was pretty good. And I was just thinking of, because I'm like, well, it was made in the RE engine, which is the same engine they use for 7, and
yeah.
the puzzles in, like, they worked on the shadow stuff because of there's puzzles in 7 that are shadow puzzles where you got to move
To make a shape.
to make a, like, a bird on the wall or something.
Yeah.
You got to move these things. So, like, just seeing that shadow, I'm like, yeah, that's right. They got them good shadows from that because it's the RE engine.
Um, the
And that, like, just seeing that shadow, you're like, fuck yeah, yeah. That's like, is that, what is that? Like, why is that like a person size? And I look over and I see that you fucking you sons of bitches, you.
the thing that brought me right back to the thing that brought me right back to the originals was this number that I wrote on this notepad because I got a portable safe, which you pick up somewhere. I can't remember.
It was in the bathroom upstairs.
Yep. So I picked up the portable safe, and I was like, "Oh, how do I do it?" So I didn't know if it was something that I needed to get a document in order to understand, like if it was where I would get like a visual cue somewhere, or if I would get like a in the same way that I would see numbers in other places or in, like I said, in documents or on whatever.
I mean, it just was that tells you, or was there like a piece of paper that talks about?
There isn't anything. It doesn't tell you shit.
Are you sure?
Yes, 100%. It only tells you how to do them, not like
Okay,
not
so
what
yeah.
the combos are.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
just do it.
Yeah.
And so the way I figured it out, which is just, it's again, it brings me back to the original where some things you have to critically think, other things you just have to be paying attention. This one is literally just you go in, you inspect it, you see a little grid of buttons, it's like light on. You press buttons, and then intuitively, once you press the right series, you're going to see 2 lights come on.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, that's the first 2 numbers right there. So you hit the first 2, and so you're basically doing it like a permutation. You're just going, all right.
I did it all by memory.
Oh yeah. Well, I wrote them down just because I was confused about it in the first place.
Oh.
Like I was like, oh wait a minute, is that what I'm supposed to be doing?
It's weird because when I read it, like I understood exactly what it was when I saw it. Like, oh, it's just you just got to do them in order.
Well, and the only other reason why I wrote the numbers was because I needed a way for it to be like that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I did it like that. I did across the top, so I just did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and did it in that order so that I knew what I was talking about.
Was it 2, 2, 4, 1? This one over here,
8.
The bottom one, yeah, 8.
Bottom right, 5,
and
3.
Then 8, yeah, okay, yeah.
2, 4, 1, 8, 5, 3 was the first combo on the one that I picked up.
I remember this.
Yep. It's like unlocking your phone. Like that's the same idea as like unlocking your phone. But that's what I like, and what I think is one of the most redeeming qualities of that game is that the exploration of everything makes you feel as though you're constantly seeking asylum. And the other funny thing that there's 2 things actually audio wise that are weird. They don't say the name of the game in the beginning when you press start.
Right.
Which is one thing where you always are like Resident Evil. I want to hear that. That's one thing. And then the second thing they don't do is they don't put music in the save rooms, the save points. Because normally in the first 3 games, when you would go into a save room, it played a very like
elevator
comforting
jingle, right?
Yeah, it was even more, it was more like it sounded very Castlevania like. It was always like a very quiet orchestral flourish type of thing that they played in the save rooms when you played the first 3 games. And I was kind of missing that because most of the time when you're walking around, it's either silent and terrifying or you're getting swells, you know, when something shitty's about to happen. And normally what I would want is just something that when you get into one of those rooms where it's just
It's weird because
like something.
I almost didn't feel like they were safe rooms.
That's why.
I wonder if
that's
it's what they're
why
going for.
they don't. Well, that's the thing. I think that's what they're going for with every decision they've made. Is they don't want you to feel like at any point. And I was just saying it about the pause screens and
like the puzzles and stuff. How
puzzle screens. When you're in there, they're still feeding you environmental cues, but then also when you're in a save room, you don't fucking know that you're in one. And you'll also, given that throughout the course of the game, you have zombies fucking rapping on doors and bursting down that shit from other rooms. You don't have the assurance anymore that when you're in a save room,
when you're in a room, it's like a closed off from everywhere else.
That's what you felt when you played the first 3.
It's not a whole building. It's a room. Like every room's a room. It's not an actual it's not a whole building.
100%. That's what gives you the thing where it feels like everything is unrelenting. Like you're just like, I'm never gonna be. You're just never gonna be safe. You're always gonna be hearing some shit. You're always gonna be seeing some shit. And you just have you better get your shit and get out because you don't know whether or not something is just going to beat down the fucking door behind you or whatever. Jeez, and also what I love is it's just it's weird to say, but I really like the gore in it. It's all done in a way that
it's corny, but disgusting.
It's corny, yeah. But even like when you got
I'm sorry, but intestines are corny for some reason.
100%. That scene where that was one where even though it was corny, that was one of those things when I texted you, I said Jesus fuck 4 times. That was the second Jesus fuck was like the guy just coming out in a blob.
Yeah, it's gross, but for some reason, whenever you see intestines, you're like, come on.
It's that Cronenberg.
Corny.
It's that awesome. Cronenberg thing that we all got, where it's like a healthy cynicism about shit like that, where you're just like, come on, because you feel disconnected from it because it's not visceral. But in fairness, the one visceral thing, is
when he lifts the cop's head up.
Yeah,
and the jaw drops down.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, yep, that gives you that same thing as in director's cut when the zombie fucking turns his face around. It's that same, oh, here we are, we're in it now type of thing that you didn't have in the events before that. That's where it was like, oh my God. And I really enjoy how they fleshed out a little bit more at the beginning of it. They didn't just dump it, you know what I mean? Because in 2, it's the same. I mean, in 1, it's like, oh, a bunch of police officers are in the forest investigating some events outside of a mansion, and then get chased down by some what they thought was rabid dogs, and now they're in the mansion. In 2, it's a cop is traveling to the city, and he sees a zombie and is like, oh shit, what's going on? And everything's on fire, and then you go into the police station. This one, at the very least, it creates some exposition out front, which is good. It shows you a little bit of your world that you're in, and
that gas station scene was spooky too, right from the beginning.
Going in there and sort of, I like when they don't do something. That's what I ultimately, why there are only a certain genre of horror movies that I like, is when they have the idea in their heads that we don't really want to go for too much of the easy shit, too much of the gratuitous shit. We're still going to have that, but there's got to be times where you're going through someplace and nothing happens. It was just scary. That's it. Like it's not that you had a jump scare every 3 seconds when you were there, but you passed through an area, nothing happened. You thought a bunch of stuff was going to happen, and now you're shitting your pants
Yeah.
because
So
you
why did
weren't
nothing
hit
happen?
with something every fucking 5 minutes. And that's what I like about the pacing of, like, again, certain horror movies that do this, and even horror games, where, like, the best example of it for me always will be The Witch. Like, in The Witch, they have many scenes where, despite an intense feeling of impending dread and doom, nothing happens.
That movie's got atmosphere.
Oh,
That's the definition
God,
of atmosphere in a
it's
movie.
like dripping with it. Like the way that they play with distance and silence and lack of awareness and just and it's all in an artistic way to make sure that your audience understands that what you're trying to do is paint a picture of what a horror movie should be, is like what real life is. There should be enough in there to make you feel as though everything's all right for a second, but I'm not quite sure, or B, wow, that section was so terrifying, but again, nobody jumped out at me and nothing happened. It was just the whole place felt really scary. And then something actually happens. And then it's like, wow, that's a great like way of doing it. And then like with The Witch, it's like you just got whole camera shots where it's a post zoom where it's just a big fucking still shot of a forest. And you don't know where something is going to present itself. The camera literally just comes in super slow. Whether you're thinking that something is going to pop out or not, they don't care. They're just like, we're just going to keep zooming in on this. Is something going to happen? I don't know. Fuck you. Like, and they do that for tons of shit. It's basically like a big fuck you. Like, oh, nothing happened. Fuck you. Move on to the next room, idiot, because now we're just going to make something crawl across the window or break a pane of glass. Or maybe we'll just give you in your headphones just a little crink, fucking floorboards.
You stepped on something. You kicked the can. That was you. You're the one making the fear. You kicked the can.
Even the difference, I walked into the waiting room of the police station. I'm out in the main hall, and the walking is fine out there. Like, it's just marble. So you have just your normal boot clicky type of walk, echoey walk. And then the whole sound of this room changes when you walk in there, because you walk across carpet. You can hear all of it. You carpet. And then when you get closer to the receptionist desk, it's wood. And then you end up with a creak and you shit your pants, because you just walked across like something that didn't make a sound, and then suddenly, oh my God.
And you know that cop's in there and he's bit, so you're just waiting for it.
You're thinking like, oh my God, did he come up from behind me and follow me into the waiting room?
This should be the room I'm going to should be a safer room, because it's like the basis. But I know there's a bitten human in there that at some point in time is gonna turn, so it's gonna be unsafe in this room.
Yep. And I really, and one thing that you kind of don't want, but at the same time it does add to it in this sense, is that your combat knife, it's followed in the trend of being what do you call a damage,
Deteriorate,
a deteriorating weapon. It deteriorates a little too fast, but the effect of it is valid, because they want you to have the sense to where, because the difference between, and also the other thing that I thought was really clever that I really like a lot is that you leave the knife in the zombie. So if you want that bitch back, you're gonna have to kill him. You can't. You're not gonna go back up to him and try to grab it out. You got to kill him, and then not. And then if you have 3 zombies in the room, say goodbye to your combat knife because you're not gonna get that back out. You're gonna die before you get it. So now you're moving on without a knife, and for most people who play, it depends on how you play the game. But there was a lot of people who played the original who relied very heavily on just slashing for certain things
I'm gonna be honest.
to conserve ammo.
I beat Wesker at the end of 5 in the volcano with a knife because I had no ammo for anything else.
That I've done very similar things in all of the titles.
You just run up and just start slash
start
and then
stabbing.
you back off.
Yeah. And the element of that to me is what makes the game unique, fun, like
It's like you fucked yourself in the beginning of the game. This is your problem.
well, that's the thing is that it depends on how you play it, because I felt like with the amount of ammo that I was able to create with gunpowder and just some of the ammo that I could find, I also had access to the samurai edge really early, so I had a lot of because it comes with the.
I didn't use that at all.
When I got to the first box, I pulled it out just to see what it was, and the only difference is it's the same. It's the same type of pistol. It's just got a 15 round magazine rather than a 9 at first, and then you get the extended mag, right? So then it doesn't matter.
That's only for the pistol though, isn't it? Can you use it on the samurai edge or no?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So
no, it didn't allow you to do it.
So once you get the extended mag, you have more rounds in the regular pistol than you do
immediately.
That.
Yeah. So, I felt like once you get the extended mag, and at that point you will have collected, if you're lucky, and if you've been conserving and you've been doing all right, you'll have had somewhere a little north of 30 rounds, which
like 40 something, I think.
If you 30, 40 rounds, if you're talking like if your ideal, which it never is, if your ideal is that you want to, like, what I was trying to do during the course of it was do headshots, a couple of them, see if I could knock them down and then run by. I knew they were going to get back up pretty much 9 times out of 10. They're going to get back up no matter how many. You do 3 rounds to the head and they're going to get back up. So that's what most of the time, if I had to get them out of my way, I would either use the combat knife to try to get them like a little bit out of the way, or if they were in a stairwell, I would knock them 3 times in the head and then just run down the stairs.
Yeah, I think the only room I cleared was with Leon's desk in it.
That was the one that you had. To me, the way that room is laid out and how everything progresses in that room, it seems like you have to clear it. You're going to have to use. There's some areas where it's just like what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
The library area, you can't. There's nothing you're going to be able to get out of it. Yeah, 2 rooms I had to drop everybody in it, and then you feel like shit because you're like, I have 1 gun with 10 bullets left in it or whatever.
Great.
It's like shit.
I had a bunch of trash in my inventory, so I can't. Even if I find a shotgun, I ain't got room for it.
Dude, I felt so stupid with the bolt cutter thing because I had this stupid plastic book and the spare part for the fucking locker terminal. And I was just like, fuck, what do I get rid of? And I think that the bolt cutters are a one-time use thing. So that's why I got rid of them. They're not. So now you know that's part of it. That's the whole thing, is like understanding what your most crucial elements are. And lucky, well, I did cheat once. I will admit that I cheated.
What? Why'd you even bother?
I did look up the safe combination for the office to get the extra hip thing that's in there.
Oh,
you know, the safe that's in the Leon's.
Yeah, where
office.
do you find that? Can you find that anywhere? Or?
Yes. Yeah. as far as I'm aware, on the I just looked it up on my phone real quick. I was like, oh, like, because I was in there. I opened up the desk. I was like, I want to open up that safe too. I was thinking in my head, I'm like, I'm going to promise myself I won't do this through the whole fucking game. But at the very least, I'm going to do the safe. Turns out, at least in the safe, you're not OP like crazy. You know what I mean? It's not like you've jumped. It's literally just 2 extra slots in your inventory.
Oh, that's still pretty good.
It's good.
You get 2 upstairs too, so like that's a whole row.
Yeah, and I mean, at the very least, that the only thing it really did for me was just to allow me to last a little bit longer without having to drop something. But I ended up having to fucking do it anyway because I'm shit at managing my inventory, so it doesn't matter. Oh, caught my back. It's fucking killing me. But fantastic game. My God, they're just destroying with these remakes, out of control. They're never gonna make Nemesis because 2 was the best one.
Unless they could do it easily.
They probably could. It's really not that different of a game. I mean, actually, to be honest with you, Nemesis was cool because you had more areas than you did before. Like it's kind of like in like eventually in 2 you get outside of the police station and you're in a little bit different areas, but in 3 it felt like you were going like way like bigger distances. You were going in alleyways, you're going behind, you know what I mean? Like you were behind the city,
I say
in front of the police department.
They had to build some of that for this one. Like in the beginning, you run through the city. So I wonder if
they could probably do 3 pretty easily.
That's what I'm saying. I wonder if when they made this one, if they like made the like layout, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then kind of just put cars and stuff to funnel you to the police station because it's kind of a funnel.
Yep.
But if it all takes place in that same area around the police station, they may have built it. I don't know.
I think
it could be a lot easier to like than a lot easier like for what that's worth, but
I think Nemesis is iconic enough in the universe for them to be like, well, if this one was very successful, I think the 3rd one would be great. And I mean, even if they expanded it again and they just did like
and it would be
a little
the
bit
last
more
one
on top,
they would have to do.
Yep. What's upsetting is that the remakes of 1 never put it to the way that this was. They never combined it with the controls of 4. You always had tank controls on every remake of 1.
No, the PS4 one doesn't have tank controls, does it?
I don't think it's over the shoulder, but
No, it's not it's not over the shoulder, but it's not tank controls.
Yeah, it's right. It's where you can. What it's doing is it's automating the tank controls and increasing the number of possible directions.
Yeah.
Basically, just allowing you to run.
It has 8-way.
It's like 8-way controls, automated 8-way controls. But I still feel like with the atmosphere of the first one that you could do a cool over the shoulder one and then include like all of the other stuff that was available in director's cut. And I mean,
but are the areas big enough?
Probably not.
That's the thing.
I mean, the only areas that end up being worth it to maybe do or see is when you start heading behind the mansion where the labs are, or like into the hive, like getting into the sciencey part of it. That's a weird part about that game, is that it was very unique about it, was that you started out in this very regal sort of mansion, and then you start like you're going down hallways and they're carpeted and there's candles and there's statues, and then suddenly there's a turning point where you head down a hallway and it's fluorescent lights and tile floors, and now you're in like a lab part, like in
Mm-hmm.
it, it doesn't really, when you're in playing it, you don't really notice when it happens, but it happens pretty quickly when you're just like, yep, I'm now in a science lab. With this, I'm excited to see what they do with what they do with DLC, because they did the DLC for 7, a couple of them.
I'm hoping that the poly models come out before I get to the Claire playthrough, so I can play as Poly Claire. Andrew started with Claire, fucking madman.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I almost thought about it, and I was like, I don't know, man. Gotta play that. Like, gotta do the Leon campaign. What I would love to see out of the DLC is I think the original stuff for Resident Evil 2, one of the things was Ada Wong in Resident Evil 2, or was she in 3?
She's in this one, I know.
Yeah, there was the Ada Wong files or something like that. I think in Code Veronica, maybe. There was like a whole separate Ada Wong thing.
Wasn't that in 4?
It might have been. Maybe it was 4, yeah. I'd like to see them do something like that. I'd also like to see
I know
them
they're doing a free DLC thing that is it's supposed to be like replayable, so I think it's like almost like a randomly generated type thing. It's called like Ghost Tales, like
Ghost Survivors.
Ghost Survivors, yeah. The way they made it sound like, because they announced that like they did a stream in Japan and they talked about that, and then they showed the poly skins for Chris and Claire.
Oh yeah, there
Chris,
it is. 98 Leon.
Leon, yeah.
It says that it will be released as a free update, and it'll be a side story that focuses on 3 survivors: Robert Kendo, the firearms dealer who owns Raccoon City Kendo Gun Shop, which is so funny that it's that. Because I remember that very vividly. An unnamed member of the Umbrella Security Service, and Raccoon City Michael Warren's daughter, who meets a tragic fate at the hands of the city's police chief. The Ghost Survivors will include randomized scenarios, an enemy unique to the game mode, and a shop where players can purchase items with points they earn in-game. So it's kind of almost like more of an action-based arcade mode, maybe?
Yeah, it sounds
like a thing where you pick a character and you play through a scenario.
Sounds a little like the Moon Crash Prey DLC.
Yes.
Where like you buy characters and weapons and stuff, and then you go into this scenario that you gotta try to get through. Yeah, that's like randomly generated enemies and stuff. That's what I'm saying. That's what it kind of sounds like.
The fucking low poly
it's so good.
Leon is so great. My God.
One of my favorite things from last year was, like, I didn't play it at all, but I saw it, and it's the low poly Tomb Raider Lara Croft. The low poly skin,
which one did they have it in? Did they have it in the most recent one?
Yeah,
Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah. So you have these environments that are absolutely insane, and then it's just this low poly.
Beep boop. Square titties, Lara Croft. Oh, that's great. I also, the other thing that I would love to see, and let me see what game it was in, because I think this would actually this would be really cool. Hunk from Resident Evil 3. From 3 Nemesis, Hunk was one of the guys that was
I think he's in
codename of a special agent of the Umbrella Security. That might be the guy that they're saying is unnamed as him. Either that or it's Carlos Oliveira. He was the other guy that was in the. But the hang on a second. Let me just make sure I have this right. There was a game mode that was in that I actually really liked a lot. The Mercenaries, which was it was in. Oh wow. Okay, I didn't know this. I searched for it and I came up with something that I wasn't expecting. There's a Resident Evil 3DS game that's called Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D, which is a third-person shooter game developed by Capcom in the 18th installment in the series. It was in 2011.
Huh.
A combination of the Mercenaries minigames featured in Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 5. So the Mercenaries, the original Mercenaries, was in 4. Let me see who the guys were that you could play as. No, let's see. Who do you have? The Mercenaries. So you had Leon, Ada Wong, Jack Krauser, Hunk, and Wesker you could play as.
Okay.
But I really feel like there was a Mercenaries mode earlier than that. It really feels like it, but the Mercenaries Resident PS1. Let's try that. It felt like Mercenaries Playground of Destruction. That's what they're pulling up.
Maybe you're just remembering it wrong.
Well, it's
Resident Evil 4 is a very old game, Brent.
Oh, here it is. I got her. I was right. It's called The Mercenaries Operation Mad Jackal.
Sounds about right.
It's an unlockable mini game in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, which you unlock by completing the main game once. It follows the 3 UBCS soldiers from the story throughout Raccoon City as they kill zombies and other creatures for points. Here's where the guys I was talking about. The mini game plays very similarly, and this is one that they might end up with here. This mini game plays very similarly to the Resident Evil mini game, The Fourth Survivor, with a few new features added in. The player has a choice of playing as one of 3 characters: Carlos Oliveira, Mikhail Victor, or Nikolai Zinoviev. The premise of the minigame is that the police chief, Brian Irons, has implanted a bomb in the chosen mercenary, and the player initially has 2 minutes to get from the cable car to the warehouse save room. And by each creature you kill grants you more time. Man, just seeing these old screenshots, dude, is out of control for the Mercenaries. Holy shit. Brings me back. And then the Fourth Survivor was Hunk for Resident Evil 2. So I'm gonna I'll bet you money that they might do something as far as DLC is concerned, playing Hunk.
I'm not gonna bet you anything because I'm pretty sure I heard
the Hunk was going to be in general.
Yes.
Well, the plot for the Fourth Survivor, the game that opens up after Resident Evil 2, is you basically complete both main scenarios. So in this case, you'd complete Leon and you complete Claire with an A ranking.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would unlock this mode, which is, Hunk is the only survivor before Raccoon City is set to be destroyed. Now in possession of the G-Virus sample, he must complete his mission by escaping with it and making his way to a helicopter.
Oh, so the plot of Resident Evil 2.
Again, with a different guy.
No, the movie. The movie.
Yes.
What the hell was it called? Resident Evil No. Extinction? No.
Extinction was Apocalypse. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the one. Nemesis.
Extinction was the one after that. Yeah, the one you like, and the one and I thought Apocalypse was better, and you hate that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah, I'm right. You're wrong.
I like both.
I'm
of
smart.
them.
You're dumb.
In fairness, I like both of them, but
no, you don't.
I
You
like
like
the
bad
second
movies.
one because it appealed more to my sensibilities at the time of being such a fanboy of Resident Evil, that to see even one remotely similar thing in the movie to anything in the video games that I'd ever played was the greatest moment of my life.
Yeah,
Where it was
yeah.
like, my God, it's Nemesis. Where like every other game was like, this isn't the Tyrant. This isn't the Licker. This isn't the Zombie Dog. Well, they did have those, in fairness. I when you're a kid and your dad brings you to see the original Resident Evil movie, you want Jill Valentine, you want the mansion.
Hell,
You get some pieces of it, but they're not in the way that you want, in the way that you like. But I was still very excited.
Jill
was in the first movie, yes.
Was she in the second one?
Yes.
Where's the blue two-top? That's Jill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She was in the first and the second one. She was not in the third one.
God, I cannot remember the first one to save my life.
The first one was where Mila Jovovich wakes up in the bathtub in the mansion and then finds her way out of the mansion. Huh?
If I had
a dollar for, well, funnily enough, in the second one, no. Second or third one, that was the point where she had discovered that they had done that a million times.
Yeah.
That she was the product of the experiment and that they had done it a million times, and she was the only one that ever made it out, because she discovered the files of when they were just cloning her over and over because she was the only incarnation of herself that adopted the T virus and it was fine. She didn't have massive mutations, just a change in power. But I digress. The first one was, to put it in a nutshell, her waking up in the mansion, exploring around, and then finding out that in the laboratory where they made the T virus, somebody dropped that shit and made it through the vents, turned everybody in the hive into a zombie, and it was all underneath that mansion.
Yep.
And then they went down in there, and my favorite scene in any Resident Evil movie was the laser room.
Sure.
Well, number one, fantastic. What a great and shitty, horrible series of films. Netflix has purchased the rights to the Resident Evil IP, the Resident Evil movie IP.
Yeah, they're
making and is going to be developing the TV series. That's right. The same weird German company that developed the movies. I stopped watching those movies after the one after Extinction.
They didn't stop making them, Brent.
Nope.
You stopped watching them. They didn't stop making them.
I watched the one after Extinction, and then I was like, yay.
I like how they like put some stuff in, like
they tried.
Some stuff from 5 was in. God, I can't remember. I watched the 3D one, I think it was.
Yeah,
Afterlife,
that was the one that I didn't watch.
Or was Afterlife the last one?
Okay, let's take a look here.
Because there was one. What the hell was the one I watched?
Okay, so here's what I didn't watch. I watched Resident Evil Apocalypse, Extinction, and Afterlife.
Okay, Afterlife.
I did not watch Retribution
Afterlife?
or the final. I saw Afterlife, yes. I remember seeing it in theaters in 3D, and I hated it.
Yeah, that was the one that had the
Wentworth Miller from Prison Break.
Yeah, it had Jill. Jill had the thing on her chest from 5. Like what happened to 5? The mind control thing on her chest.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I don't think I saw Retribution then.
No, the
I
one.
Don't remember.
The end of Afterlife was where she found the. Oh boy, maybe it wasn't even the end of Afterlife. The end of want to say Extinction was when she found all of the clones of herself.
Yeah.
And then that all transpired in Afterlife, and then past that, I got no fucking idea. Paul W.S. Anderson, you sick son of a bitch. It's so there's, boy, that's so weird. Alice and the Others on the Umbrella Corporation Freighter Arcadia. Oh yeah, the boat. That was that. I remember the boat at the end of Afterlife. So Retribution is like, oh my God, there is Leon in this. Wait, I just want to see.
Stop asking questions at this point.
Yeah, he is.
He probably is.
He is. Yeah, I remember Johan Erb. He was a fashion model from Estonia. I'm sure it was very well acted from the fashion model from Estonia. I mean, in all fairness, Mila Jovovich is a fashion model from the Ukraine. So,
why
be
not?
that as it may. Oh no, she's American. It's just her name is Ukrainian. Oh no, she was born in the Ukraine. Kiev, Ukrainian SSR, and Soviet Union. Mila Jovovich. She is one of the hottest women alive. And has a band with Maynard James Keenan.
Because why not?
Why? Yeah. What's wrong with that? You don't want any side projects. You don't want to just do the stuff that you want to do. I think she's in Pussifer, isn't she?
I don't know.
Yes.
Is she?
Oh God, this is really great. I'm gonna read you some things.
Oh my God.
2009 soundtrack appearances. Underneath the Stars Renholder mix featuring Maynard James Keenan cover of The Cure for the Underworld Rise of the Lycans soundtrack.
All right.
Is there any more 2009 things that you can think of that you'd like to put in there? And then 2010, The Mission, the M is for Mila mix featuring Pussifer and Renholder for the Blood into Wine soundtrack, which I watched. Great film. Can't recommend it enough. Gives you a insight into a truly disturbing man. What
about the song, though?
The song, The Mission?
I don't know. Whatever song. The M is for Mikovic. Mila. M is for Mila mix.
The M is for Mikovic. It's a weird song.
Oh, okay.
I can definitely tell you that. She's a weird bird, man. She has acted. She was a model for so many years, and then acted, and then did this weird shit. She does whatever the fuck she wants, dude. It's crazy.
Remember that Alien movie? That was a good movie. I like that movie.
What one?
The Alien one.
With her in it?
Yeah. There was aliens.
Fifth Element?
No. There was aliens, and they came down, and that one movie. I don't know. I'm pretty sure we went to go see it together. All right, how about that?
Cool.
Two best friends
going to see shitty movies.
I liked it. I'm pretty sure you hated it.
Oh, oh, wow, that's weird.
Yeah, big surprise. It was about aliens, and I liked it. Could you believe it? How do you spell her name?
Milla.
Okay.
And then it should come up.
Yeah.
The
Fourth Kind.
The Fourth Kind. Huh. Well, what do you know about that? The Fifth Element and The Fourth Kind.
There was aliens. That's what I know about it. Oh yeah, it was a dumb question.
Oh, that was that movie where she played the psychiatrist and it had all that found.
Yeah, that was so good.
It got a 19 on Rotten Tomatoes.
People
It
don't
was
know what
so good. People don't know shit.
people don't know shit, man. I'm telling you, every movie I like, everyone hates.
I, 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 I don't think we watched. I don't think we went and saw that. It doesn't feel like we did. It feels like something that I watched at home.
Okay,
but
I saw it
maybe
in the movie
not.
theater, so
Um. Ultimately, the film's narrative segments are far too glossy and over-stylized, larded with ponderous scoring, obvious melodrama, and split-screen visuals that offset the reenactments with the real.
yeah, you see this trailer with Zac Efron as what is he, the BTK killer?
He plays a serial killer?
Yeah, I think it's the.
Oh yeah, it's Ted
no,
Bundy.
Ted Bundy, that's what it is.
Zac Efron Ted Bundy trailer, horrific true story of. Oh wait a minute, let's see. Ted Bundy movie. Twitter is having mixed reactions. Yeah, so he went from High School Musical 3 senior year to the Ted Bundy movie. He's really doing it. The Greatest Showman, Baywatch, Dirty Grandpa,
Did you
Neighbors.
see The Greatest Showman?
Yes, he was.
Did you watch that?
No.
That was pretty good.
It looks like it's got some good reviews.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It looks like it's got some good response. It's got Hugh Jackman in it and Zendaya.
You would like it for like the what's the word? Like the atmosphere. Remember how we were talking about atmosphere?
Remember that atmosphere that everybody talks about?
It's got good atmosphere.
It's got one of those in there.
And some good songs because it's a musical too.
Put some atmosphere in this. God damn it. It's not atmospheric enough. Yeah, I would watch it. It wouldn't hurt me.
You should watch it. See if you like it.
So I know we've already talked about RE2, but I'm sure that there are some things waiting in the wings for us to disclose. So, you play any good games lately?
Oh, we're just getting to this bit. I'll make it
quick. We'll wrap it up real quick.
Yeah,
sure.
I'll make it quick. So I finished Red Dead Redemption 2. I told you about that. I said, hey, Brent, I finished it. I'm done. Finished it. Yeah. That's a game. Woo! Okay, anyways. I don't know. You know, when something's really good, but you just don't know how you feel about it.
I've had that experience with like a lot of different types of media. Like sometimes, like back in the day when I used to read, I would finish something and I would be like, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how any of that makes me feel.
Like, it was so long, but like some of the parts are so good that you're like, what? You could have tightened it up. Just tighten it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
there's probably a great deal that if you just did some editing, it would be still a supremely satisfying.
But at the same time,
experience.
I don't know if it would be the same game with that editing, so I wouldn't want that editing. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about not knowing how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I'd say it took me probably a cool 70 hours to finish all the way through.
That's just so inconceivable to me.
And
I can't think of it.
I don't know, man. I just don't like. I love spoilers. I'm just gonna spoil it for you because you're never gonna play it. The only way you'll see anything about it is on the internet, so it'll just be spoiled anyways. So you're playing as Arthur Morgan, right? In the beginning, you contract tuberculosis, and then at the end, there's like this whole the whole thing with the camp falling apart with like Dutch is going crazy and everything. And by the end, you're basically split into two camps: the people who are still on Dutch's side, and then like people who are on your side kind of like that's just putting it lightly. So all this happens, and then there's this big shootout at the end. All the Pinkertons come, and because someone ratted you guys out, so you got them chasing you. Dutch is shooting at you and everything. So it all accumulates to this like fist fight on a mountain against the guy that basically sold everyone out, but Dutch still thinks is being loyal to him. So it's like that whole thing. So you're fighting them or whatever, and then they kind of just walk away, and you end up just like sitting against the sun, and you're supposed to like. You just assume that's the end of his life. He died. Arthur dies on the mountain.
Yep.
Right there, right? It's like at this point your tuberculosis it's run rampant. Like after every mission, you're like, either you faint, you pass out, and like you wake up like an hour later, or like you're just like having a coffin fit on a rock.
Yep.
So you assume like he dies, and it almost feels anticlimactic. You're like, I get it, but. I don't know how.
Well, I've heard a lot of this from just
I don't know how you would do it better.
The world,
because it worked, but I don't know. I think the whole like after that ends, you go to the epilogue and you just start playing as John Marston, and it's an open world game, so they got to give you someone to play with, like so you can keep playing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Instead of like loading the last save before the last mission. So it's kind of like cool, I get it, because that was a problem with Horizon Zero Dawn was after you beat the last mission, like you went to a state before the last mission was finished in the game itself.
Right.
So everyone like you talk to characters that like if you wanted to keep playing the game, even with the DLC, there was like a disconnect because you're talking to characters that like, you know, things happen in that game. I don't know if you're ever going to finish it.
Oh, good Lord.
To spoil it for you, but like, so like you as a player find out that the one guy that's been helping you through some of it's bad. So like,
yeah, but
it kind of like, so I get that that's why they wanted you to like go on as John Marston, because it would make no sense that they want to hammer home the point that Arthur dies at the end, right? Yep. So jumping back to a state where you don't like before that last mission, it's like almost disorienting, and also because the way they do with the tuberculosis as the game goes on, like your health and stuff start to deteriorate. Like it takes more to like get full health and everything because you're dying of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So like, even if they did that to where they kicked you back to before that last mission to play through the open world,
you'd be in such a shitty state to do anything. It would be nonsensical.
It would be like not fun. So like so then there's this whole double epilogue where and I get it. Like it makes sense to where the Red Dead 1, it's basically right before Red Dead 1 happens.
Yeah.
So you're John, you ran away, you came back, you're working on a farm, you're shoveling shit, you do some other like nonsensical stuff, and it almost just takes away from what just happened with Arthur, because then you just go on it like I guess they're trying to hammer home the point, you know, life goes on for other people.
Right.
Especially at this time.
But what you're looking for is kind of a narrative experience that comes all the way up and then is satisfied, and then that's it. But in a world where the game is the game.
It goes all the way up, it satisfies, and then it comes all the way down, and then it starts to go back up again. But then it starts to go back up again because you're like, all right, I'm John. Like I played as John.
Now you're in Now like, you're in what it was before.
Well, I'm seeing what happened before he gets on that train in Red Dead 1 to go to that first area, New Austin, I think it is. New Austin? Yeah. Because Lemoyne is Red Dead 2. Yeah, New Austin. Like the New Austin area. So like then you start to feel again, and then it ends again on a pretty cool note with like you meet up with some of the people from the camp before, and then you're going on a revenge mission against Micah because Arthur had told John that Micah's the one that sold you out, and you're going through the mountains and everything, and you're fighting out the mountains, and you get to the Micah, and then Dutch comes out of the Dutch comes out. Like you didn't think Dutch was there. You thought Dutch was gone at this point. And like you end up in a Mexican standoff, and then Dutch ends up shooting Micah and just walks away. And it's a pretty it's again another satisfying ending. But I don't know. They almost ruined the time with Arthur. It was worth it, again, it's like you like it, but you just don't know how you feel about it.
Look, a lot of people, like I said, with shows and shit, a lot of people don't like how it ends, but there's just as many people as like, I was along for the ride. It was a good ride.
But I liked how it ended.
The end is the end. Yeah,
But I didn't like how it ended.
Yeah, I mean, look, when there's 700 endings and it doesn't seem like there's a sense of finality. You get the endings that you get.
Yeah. But it's almost like, did that epilogue have to be that fucking long? Because that epilogue was like 10 hours. Like, really?
Holy shit!
Did you really have to hammer home that John was like down on his luck and he worked to get his life back together, only to ruin it on a revenge mission? Because at the end of the credits, it's basically you see the Pinkertons walk up on his ranch that he built, and that they're going to get him, thus going into Red Dead 1. You know what I mean? Because Red Dead 2 is a prequel. So whatever. That's that. Finished. And then I played some Anthem last night, and that game's fun.
Cool. I played Donut County. Finished that. Delightful. Beautiful game. A singular vision by a singular guy who has got some great ideas and has proven track record of having great ideas. Manifested itself into a very satisfying 3-hour, 2.5 hour, 3-hour gaming experience that was fun and rewarding and very cutesy and graphically interesting. And very, like I said, conceptually weird and interesting. And I played a little bit of The Messenger, and I played a little bit of The Way Remastered, which I didn't really like. And I played a little bit of the game. I sent you a link to it. I had seen it a couple of times. It was an indie favorite type of game. I don't know why I can't remember the name of it. It starts with a P, I think. It's like, I keep thinking of Puyo Puyo, but it's not that. It's
Piku Niku?
No, Piku Niku just came out. I'm talking, this one came out on Steam before it ever came out on this, and I'm just trying to find, is there like a whole list of Nindies?
It's on the
Switch. Trying to
find.
Yeah, it was interesting, but I don't think it offered me much in the way of like, it was a puzzler. It's a top-down puzzler. Let's see if I can find it.
Top-down puzzler, huh?
Yeah. Oh boy. This is gonna be the end of it because it's gonna be hard as hell for me to figure out. But we're gonna get to it. Not Owlboy, not Fee, not the Mummy Demastered, although that was supposed to be a really good game.
Treasure Tracker?
No.
Pode?
It's a what? No. Shit, that sucks, man.
Pool Panic. You played that?
No, well, I played Pool Panic a long time ago, but top 40 indie games on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh my god.
Woo-wee! We're gonna really get into it now.
Oh
I did see where you saw Poi, but did you play Minute?
I have Minute.
At one point. You have it. You didn't play it
yet.
That was one that I was kind of. Oh, and I also really wanted to play Shantae too.
Andrew beat that game. Andrew loved that game.
It's because I told you that when I built that stupid shitty Game Boy, I want to play Grease too.
I have that. I haven't started it yet.
God, I need to play it. Fuck, there's so many games that I need to play. Man, it's so weird that I can't find this game. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Everything is meaningless. I also kind of wanted to play Monster Boy as well.
I got another one. I got another one we could talk about. So, it's called Citus 2, and it is a phone game. That's right, a game you play on your cellular telephone. I think it costs like $4. It's a rhythm game that's like Elite Beat Agents and Osu. Like where you there's little circles that glows. There's like a bar that goes up and down, and when the bar goes over the circle, you gotta hit the circle. Some of them are hold, some of them are tap, some of them are like trace with your thumbs, and that's pretty fun to play. Every now and then, yeah, it's got a cool aesthetic. And it's
nice.
fun. Yeah, so
I will. I'll check that out. I got to. The goal, Dylan, the ultimate goal is to fucking just finish a game, for God's sakes.
Didn't you finish one?
Finish Resident Evil 2 like a real game. Finish a real boy game.
All right, finish
and
Resident
I'll
Evil
feel
2
very
then.
happy.
Yo, The Little Mermaid's coming out in 4K. I'm stoked.
Oh my God. I'm going to tell you what the name of this is just so that you can do the same thing with the one game that I was trying to figure out on mobile, the jumping game, the endless runner game. Remember you literally named a podcast after it.
Oh yeah,
Photonica.
Yeah.
Where I was trying to figure out the name of Photonica, which is still, I guess, is hard to remember as anything else. Goner, Goa. I'll figure it out, Dylan. God damn you.
All right, I'm not worried about it. Don't trust me. I got plenty of other games. I just started Dark Souls Remastered also. So.
Oh my God. All right. Well, you let me know how awfully brutal and disgusting that is.
Like 2 bosses in. Pretty good.
two bosses in, you're doing pretty good, or just pretty good?
Both.
Both?
A little bit of column A, column B.
Column A, column B. All right. Well, that about does it for this edition of the Jack It Off podcast. I'm going to sit here for another hour trying to figure out what this game was, or actually just go over to my Switch, which is in the other room, and just see it.
Probably that might
and
work
text
a
you
little
what
better.
it is. And that is it. If you want the audio versions of this podcast, they are available in the description box below. And the link to the game that I was trying to think of will also be there too.
Sell it.
Sell that game. Sell the Nindies.
Sell it.
Get out there and play the Nindies, and get out there and play Resident Evil 2 and shit your pants.
Tell them.
I am out of here.